So you want to be a better guitarist. Well, if you play fingerstyle guitar, then to me, you really want to be able to control the way that your nails sound like. Now, if you use flesh to play or if you use finger picks to play, don't watch the video. It doesn't really have a whole lot of information for you. But if you do play with either your regular nails or with acrylic nails, I call them fake nails a lot, this is going to be a great video for you. Okay? The first thing to know is that if you play with acrylic over your fingers, if you play with store-bought, the two killers, the two things that most guitarists run up against, it's not breakage because they're so much stronger. What we run up against is actually air and water. Those are the two things that will mess up your store-bought nails faster than anything. What will typically happen is around the side of the nail, around the cuticle, you're going to notice that after 2 weeks, 10 days, depending on who you are, it might be 3 weeks, that they will start to lift around the sides. And what I use is a very simple, this is brush-on nail glue. All the items that I'm going to show you can be purchased at Sally's Beauty Salon. And yes, I am a card-carrying member of Sally's Beauty Salon. I know I don't look like it. So the brush-on nail glue is controllable. And typically at about 10 days to 2 weeks after I've gotten my nails done, I will go around the edges, put super glue there, and then this is a really handy item. This is nail glue dryer. I spray this on it. You can wipe off the excess, and it's great. You can really kind of limit where the super glue goes, not glows. If the super glue glows, you're in deep shit. So don't go there. All right. So if you can see my nails, they're actually in really good shape. They look great. I did some work on them yesterday to get them shorter because they were too long. But then as I was doing some work around the house, my middle finger got caught in something. And as happens sometimes with fake nails, if there's pressure put on the blade, so to speak, of the nail downward, it can create loosening up here. So what I'm going to do today is basically what I do, that you would go back to the salon and get a fill. But why do I want to drive 25 minutes, spend $15, drive back another 25 minutes? So I've wasted at least an hour of my time. Not wasted, but I've spent an hour of my time and $15 of my hard-earned money. When I can do this in less than the time that it takes me to drive there and back, much less. So I'm going to walk you through what I do with one finger in the nail salon, or my nail salon. And the first thing that I'm going to do is you want to rough up the nail that you're going to work on. Super glue does much better. So this is one of these items. It is a 5-sided, it's actually 3-sided, quite rough. And all I'm trying to do is to rough up the nail in such a way that the super glue is going to adhere better. It'll also take any edges that might be popped up and bring those down a little bit. Now, one of the things you'll notice is that for this first application, I am only going to put super glue from a little bit in front of the cuticle to a little bit over this damaged area. I'm not going to do the whole nail this time. And then I'm just going to dip this into the acrylic powder. This is something that I learned through a friend of mine. This is kind of how Ed Gerhard does his nails, or used to. Okay? Now, I will also go ahead and put on another layer of super glue over this. And then to kind of even things out, I'm going to dunk the whole thing in just a couple of times. All right? Then we're going to put on one last super glue. And now we're going to spray it with nail glue dryer. All right. Now I'm just going to kind of dab the excess off. And here's what you can see. I'm not going to give you guys the fingers, so I'm holding 2 fingers. All right? Now, this is not going to necessarily look as good as a store-bought, but I have a few other items here that I will be working on. Here's something else you guys might want to get. This Dremel tool is fabulous for doing some kind of quick work, especially if you've gotten your nails too thick. It has high and low settings. And I'm just going to go ahead, there's a little bump here in the middle, and I can just take that off. I have a tendency to work at lower settings. Now with that, I can buff that a little bit more with this bad boy here. It does matter to me what things look like, so if this little spot here doesn't heal, I will just go ahead and put a little bit of super glue over that, and that will typically take care of it. Now let's talk a little bit about some misconceptions. A lot of people think that you're going to get fungus if you go to the nail salon, and some people are definitely prone to fungus, but the best way to get to I've never had a case of fungus with store-bought nails, ever. The only time I've damaged my nails is when I've done them myself. So what I've gone to is that when I break a nail to the point that I need to have a tip put on, I go to the salon. I don't put tips on myself. But anything that's in between, I do myself. Super glue is so easy to work with. This is really easy to work with. There have been a couple of times where I've gotten my nails too short, and I was able to add a week or 2 weeks growth just by putting a little bit of glue at the very end of the fingertip, dipping it in the powder, and then doing that again and doing that again. It might take longer because there's no nail underneath. It's probably going to take, very often in the summer, it will be, I'll let it cure overnight to get it done. But if you can keep water and air from getting under your fingernails when you're doing a nail salon, you really shouldn't have any issues with fungus. It's probably not going to happen. I know there's a lot of people that have rules for how long their fingernails are going to be because somebody else does it that way, or the shape. And I'm going to encourage you, these are your picks. When you get acrylics on your fingers, as far as I'm concerned, you have a semi-permanent pick installation on your hands. And you can control exactly how thick they are, how long they are, and honest to goodness, the biggest part of my tone comes from the nails. And I've learned what works for me. I know a lot of classical guitars that ramp their fingers so that the angle from the nail goes from the tip of the nail and it slants down in more of a straight line towards the thumb. The thumb ramps kind of away from it, so you're actually going away from the thumb, and it ramps at an angle like that. I like them rounded. I like them to look like the ends of my fingers. That's what works for me. I like my nails pretty long. That's what works for me. And because they're long, I get my nails relatively thick so that they can keep a really good, strong tone. Now, here's something that may surprise you. I have great nails. I really do. The reason I go to a nail salon is that I actually like the sound better. It's consistent, and really takes very little work. Once I start spending more than 25 or 30 minutes a week on my nails, I go back to the salon. And that usually happens at about, I'm really close now to going back to the salon. This is something that, what I've learned is that I actually really like the sound of the tips, the plastic tips with acrylic over them. I get the sweetest highs, I get some really nice lows, I get everything that I'm looking for, as well as consistency and not worrying about whether I'm going to bust a nail or not. You know, I don't want to have to cancel a gig because I broke a nail. So if you're worried about store-bought nails, we can talk, PM me on my website, things like that. We can definitely, get you through whatever kind of issues you might have. But just know that if you're going to go the acrylic route, it actually puts you in more control than you've probably ever been. It's not a bad thing. And I think you're going to find that you can get great volume, great consistency, and great tone if you decide to go the acrylic route. All right. Cheers. Check out my website. Check out my blogs. Check out all the cool stuff. Enjoy this. Cheers.